Hello, welcome to another episode of Purpose Maker. I'm Dr. Wegman, the host of this podcast. Today I have a very fun and special guest. This is Coach Dennis Starkey. He was a coach at Petoskey High School 32 years, and then he retired in 2018. So today's podcast episode is Beyond the Scoreboard. We want to discuss a lot of things from his coaching philosophy to life. Couple things here. He's in the Hall of Fame in 3 different associations. Is that how you'd say it?
Yes.
Okay.
One of them is the high school here, the Petoskey High School
All right.
Hall of Fame, but in the Basketball Coaches Association of Michigan and Michigan High School Coaches Association, which includes coaches from other sports as well.
Well, congratulations on that. Probably know more coaches from Escanoma to Detroit than most people. A lot of good friendships around the state.
Oh yeah, that's been one of the highlights of coaching is the friendships,
the connections
from other coaches to obviously players at the forefront.
Did I see the Coach Ingalls and his wife up in the UP just got?
They're going to be. I'll be there on Saturday.
Oh, how fun!
Tomorrow. Coach P, my longtime assistant, is going to be inducted in our Coaches Hall of Honor as an assistant coach, and it'll be at the same ceremony that Doug and Doreen are getting inducted in the Hall of Fame. So
that's awesome.
Special night tomorrow.
That is going to be a special night. Overall career record: 553 wins, 260 losses. Coach, that's impressive.
That means I was around a long time.
Yeah, that means something was working though. All right. So one of the things I like to do is kind of start from the beginning. So what that means is where were you born? Where did your upbringing start?
I was born in a small town of Mansalona. Had a great family. I was one of 6 kids, and we were unfortunately dealt a blow, and my dad passed away when I was 11, but had the strength of a unbelievable mother that got us through, and we've all thrived, and I can look back at that as it's a big part of who I am.
Sure is.
The way I was brought up.
So where were you in the birth order?
I was fourth.
Fourth in the birth order.
I have 2 older brothers, an older sister, and then I've got a younger brother and younger sister.
So you're used to combat basketball.
Well, I'm used to making sure you guard your food at the table because you don't want to get them going to the bathroom in the middle of the dinner because you're not going to find much left.
Might not be there. Do you remember anything about that incident when you were 11?
Oh yeah, I remember it vividly. I was actually at a district basketball game, Mansalona and Ellsworth, and the superintendent, who was my dad's best friend, pulled me out of the stands and changed my life forever.
Jeez. Yeah.
But we don't want to dwell on that because, as I said, my mother was an unbelievable leader, and she just put her head down and went to work, and that's what we all followed her lead.
Is she still with us today?
She passed 2 years ago.
Okay. Well, bless her heart. Yeah, moms are special people.
Yes, they are. Mine was at the top of the list. That's for sure.
That's a good thing. What's one of the best memories of her?
Oh, her strength. Just knowing that she had to. My oldest brother actually was a freshman at Ferris State. He was running cross country and track, and he quit to join the military so that he could support the family. And but
that's a good older brother.
Yeah. Well, I guess one of my memories of my mother the most is she rarely missed any of the games.
She was always
coach. She was at
she
was
big
as many games as she could. She didn't like bad weather, so there's a story I tell that she came with 2 of her friends, and my mom had a broken leg one winter, and they went to the games. And one lady couldn't hear, one couldn't see, and my mom couldn't walk, but together they were able to make it all many games.
Oh, that's a good one. There was an old movie like that, right? See no evil, hear no evil, something funny like that. All right. So what are some of the best memories growing up with your brothers?
Oh, there's an age gap. My closest brother was 4 years older, and we actually are closer now than we were when we grew up. Just as we were, far enough part that he didn't want me around most of the time.
The little brother always trying to tag along.
Now we vacation together and as families, and we've become close. So I'm meeting my older brother after we're done here with my oldest brother for lunch. So we stay in touch. We have family holidays, and we're making sure that continues even after my mom passed. So
it's good stuff.
Good story, good upbringing, and I turned to my biggest role model. Turned out to be my football coach, who kind of took me under his wing. He was friends with my dad as well, and it was always my goal to be called coach, because I was never Coach Mr. Delling. It was Coach Delling, and I thought, wow, what an honor, and that's what I was able to achieve.
It is a great honor.
It is.
Yeah. So, you go to Mansalona High School?
I did.
Okay. After high school, where'd you head?
Went to Elm College.
Okay.
So I never had really been anywhere real big, because Elm was a small school, and met lifelong friends there and played a little basketball. And that was a common denominator between a lot of same thing throughout life, is that I've got it kind of revolves around sometimes that little round ball, but I still stay in touch with guys. In fact, a couple of us are going to get together in Florida this winter, and so that was a neat spot for me.
So that college time, I assume you were pursuing an education degree.
I was.
Yep.
I was, and then I was fortunate enough. There's a long time camp, Wolverine Camps, which is now defunct, but led by two fantastic men, John Zimmerly and Bill Ullenbrook, and I started working there while I was still in still in college, and that really got my itch going to coach. And two of my best friends, guys that in my wedding and I was in their weddings, are still from, that's where we met, as Wolverine, and the common bond again was basketball.
Nice. Yeah, it's been a good one. Okay, so did you meet your wife in college or after?
Actually, that's kind of a funny story. And when I graduated in the early 80s, teaching jobs were hard to come by. And I ended up substitute teaching in Boyne City for 2 years before I got my first real job, and that was at Vanderbilt High School. And Karen was the first-year teacher there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we both moved from I was in Grand Rapids after the Boyne City stint, and we both moved to Vanderbilt thinking, oh, man, we're not going to meet anybody. In the first day of school, we met, and didn't take long, and we were hooked.
Yeah, because Vanderbilt's a small community.
Very, very small, yeah.
Yeah, and so you're young at that time, coming out of school, what, 24-ish?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see how you could go there not thinking you're going to find your significant other.
Yeah.
All right.
Well.
And so how long were you at Vanderbilt?
3 years.
Okay.
And then my dream job was Petoskey, and Gary Heiss was the athletic director here, and I did everything in my power to get in, to get that job, and I did stuff I probably shouldn't have done, but I do have one story on that. I had an interview, and Bob Doctor was the principal, and Gary the AD, and during the interview, they were talking a little bit about what they had going on, and Gary said that he was going to run a 10K at the Charleroi Venetian Festival that weekend. So guess where I was that weekend?
Running a 10K.
Running a 10K.
Got to get your face out there.
Yeah, and the story. And then Gary decided not to run. So I ran the whole race looking for him. They think, Gary, you made me run a 10K for nothing.
Oh, that's a good one. But it got you hired.
Yeah, it helped me get hired.
All right. So what year was that?
Oh, man, 1985.
1985, came into Petoskey.
Hmm.
Okay. So you said you coached Petoskey 32 years. Does that mean you started coaching basketball right around that time too?
I did.
Yes. Yeah. Did you have the varsity role at that point?
I was really too early to have the first job. I ended up with the varsity job at Boyne City, and then of course Vanderbilt, but I was assistant 1 year. I was thrust into the first varsity role, but
as a young late 20s.
Yeah. didn't know what I was doing, and
Yeah, but that's part of life.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's right.
Everything is live and learn. Yeah, if we knew what we're doing or we wait till we do it, we'll never get it done.
Exactly.
That's what I was telling you about this podcast. Nobody really knows how to podcast well, and I just like, hey, let's go, let's figure this out.
Yeah, you're doing a great job with it.
It's coming along, and the theme of this podcast, and you can see on my thing there, it's a midlife wisdom podcast. So I like pulling out those stories out of people and, what drove them to do things and how they're motivated. And for you, I really want to hear like your coaching philosophy. So you get in at late 20s. How did your philosophy on coaching, because coaching's deep, right? And when you're talking about a coach that took you under his wing, that's more influence.
Yeah.
And that's what drew you to doing that.
Exactly. It really was a thrill. I mean, I couldn't imagine not having that thrill. But when I started, I was a sponge. I just went to as many clinics and as many opportunities to learn.
How to coach.
And I really, looking back on it, I was trying something new all the time, as a lot of young coaches do.
Testing.
And that it really comes down to relationships. And takes a long time to figure that out. But if you don't have the foundation set, then you could be the greatest X and O's person in the world. But you have to do things that are right for the kids that you work with and for the parents, and and those things take a long time to learn. And I think that starting with philosophy, I think, is just really making sure that you put the main things first, and that's the kids.
So it's just character building.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
for sure.
Mm-hmm. Now, you reap the benefits of going to weddings and getting birth announcements and those kind of things are
from kids you coached.
Oh man, that's
special.
That you look back on that and didn't really realize say the power, but the influence you might have.
Yeah. The impact.
Yeah. I had a couple of ex-players help me take my doc out the other day. They
call them up and get some strong young men.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is definitely helpful. How did your coaching philosophy change? Did you have a little more grace as you got older?
I really, this might sound funny, but when you're kids, I had two boys that were athletic, and I learned a lot going through that process
with your own boys,
raising kids, raising athletic kids, and
competitive.
Looking at some of their experiences that weren't so good, whether at Little League or other sports, or and some that were, and most of them were great, but you learn a lot about yourself, and you kind of, well, here's an example. We used to always we challenged ourselves all the time by going as far as, wherever we could to get good competition. And we, for years, went to Grand Rapids area and scrimmage Rockford and Hudsonville, and anybody that we could match up with it. And it was always the Friday after Thanksgiving. Well, that's a pretty important holiday for families, and we did it. It was a great time for us to get to learn and to get better. But I do remember when my boys were there, all of a sudden we weren't going to Grand Rapids on Friday, and one of the old mothers, not old mothers, one of the former mothers of the said, "No, I see you're not going to Grand Rapids at Thanksgiving now." I was like, yeah, I was.
But before kids, you kind of expected everyone to do that.
Yeah, I want to do it, and I was like, oh man, what I put people through that I learned, and you don't learn those things until you hope not too late, but you live and learn.
Well, and your record kind of shows competitiveness is in your blood. Obviously, winning wasn't everything, but you definitely taught a lot of teams how to win.
Yeah, that's a fine line. You definitely. I don't think we ever really crossed. I had such a great assistant with Sean Pullian,
Mhm.
Coach P, as he was always referred to, and he was great. He was a great sounding board for me. So because we would at times,
Get a little intense.
we talk and we got to do this. We got to do the right thing. I mean, example is pulling the kid up, which means another kid's not going to play.
Mhm.
You pull up a sophomore and a senior's not going to play, and those are tough. Those are tough calls. And one, you want to be as competitive as you can, but you also want to be compassionate and somebody that's put in all the time. It's hard to.
Mhm.
It's hard to. You can't forget those things either.
As a culture, we're kind of struggling through some of that because there's a lot of programs that are not merit based. Merit meaning how much effort you put in, how talented you are. They just play the seniors, right? But there's a lot of research behind child psychology that kids would rather sit the bench and win than play, and a lot of coaches miss that. They're putting kids in there that you watch them, you're like, that kid can't even keep up.
Yeah.
And it's that delicate balance you're talking about.
It is, and it's a lot of times, like you said, a lot of the kids understand it more than you might think.
They do.
There's times when the kid has said, "Hey, I think he's better than I am," and
they feel it.
But you also have the whole team camaraderie aspect too, and taking a key guy out, and taking him out can have negative effects on the whole team too. So yeah, it's a challenge.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. What about travel sports nowadays? How much have you seen it change?
Oh,
yeah, it's different.
Terrible. I don't want to say terrible, but there's those that benefit and those that get dropped by the wayside. If you
much quicker,
there's you could use an example of just the financial impact of travel. I know what it's like, and I know what it's like to travel to all over the Midwest, and sometimes even to the AU tournament in Las Vegas. And it's expensive, and if you're competing with somebody that can go, and you don't have the financial means to do it, that's
a barrier.
And I know there are scholarships in there. If you're really good, there's people that'll pick you up, but it happens at which if it started in high school, then I would be more apt to support it. But when it starts so young, yes, and it's gotten to the point where it's changed things, and I don't think it's changed for the better. Including the aspect of I've always been a supporter of multi-sport athletes, and if you just concentrate on one, and sometimes you can hardly help it with the schedule the ambitious schedules that the AU people can put out there, that it's hard to
just year-round basketball.
I got one of our real good players, our all-time leading scorer, John Flynn, as an example. He ran track his senior year, and he said, "God, I wish I had done that earlier." But he'd been involved in AU in the spring, so it was hard to do. But I know his son's now playing football here, and he'll probably do something this spring too, because he realizes the value of
doing multiple sports.
Being involved with different groups of, the football crowd's group is different than you'll see in basketball, and that's valuable to get the experiences of being involved with both those teams.
And then I played football, basketball, and baseball through high school.
I did the same thing, but track down baseball. I didn't like having people throw at me. I'd rather run than have somebody chuck balls at me. No, actually, the reason I didn't like baseball was too slow.
That's a slow game, but it's a fun game. It is strategy-wise.
I love watching it. Yeah. I love watching it. I understand it, but it was too.
Yeah. See, I was a catcher, so every single play I was involved in it.
Yeah.
Speaking of, Detroit won yesterday, right?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So here's an interesting trend I was just reading about, and this is going to be really interesting in the next 10 years for travel sports. Venture capitalist companies are buying up travel teams. So what they're going to do is start making it kind of like a amusement park or theme park. So you come to play basketball, And now they have rides, and they have an arcade, and they have a restaurant, right? They just want to capitalize on all the money that's coming to a venue. So they're going to start purchasing the venues and the teams, and then it's going to become really crazy.
It is, and you also think about the impact of travel that our kids have to. When you're talking about a place that's not going to be held, there's not going to be
No,
one of those in northern Michigan.
it won't.
So we're going
Grand
to have to
Rapids and
travel.
South.
You're going to have to travel, and that's a burden on families, and
Yeah.
people invest a lot. And I don't blame them. I did it. We did it.
Mhm.
Well, you felt like they had
It
great
was,
experiences. I mean, it wasn't a negative, but what they missed out on too.
Hmm.
Um,
well, the only negative is when the travel sports start splitting families.
yes,
That's when it starts getting tough.
exactly.
And you're constantly have one parent going one direction with one kid, another parent going another direction, and then you'll go like days over the weekend where nobody's home.
Exactly.
Right? They're just going all over the place. Yeah, I wonder how that trend's going to go, because I think a lot of parents are going to start to feel like you were saying with, the Friday after Thanksgiving. You get to that point, you're like, why are we doing this?
Right.
Right. We definitely hit that. We hit that threshold because every Sunday you're gone, so you have no chance as a family to go to church.
Mm-hmm.
You just start questioning, how much is this? Because my daughters are fairly athletic, but we're not promoting college athletics. So,
yeah, that's another part of this is um, I played basketball in high school and football and ran track. I wasn't doing it with the idea that I'm going to play in college.
that's all it is now.
It was like now everybody thinks that it's going to be a college athlete, and
Sure, everybody.
it's not fair to put the pressure on the kids to just have fun, play sports, and if things work out that you're good enough to play in college, great. But if it doesn't,
So I had a friend of mine tell me that he had spent $40,000 doing travel sports. And I was just thinking, well, you just paid for at least a year or two of education
right,
just
right,
trying to do these travel sports.
right.
Well, and you've been around a lot of very talented athletes, and your son went Division I playing basketball. There's a genetic component to athleticism that you can pick up on early. Right? Some kids you can see based on the way the parents are built and the way the kids moves. This isn't a collegiate athlete.
Right.
And the parents don't know that because it's just something you don't know.
Exactly.
Right? You just don't know what you don't know. And you see these parents and you just go, man, it's not your place to go up and say, hey, listen, at this age, this is the level of competition your child should be at if they're super competitive.
Right. And as a coach, I found myself in times when somebody would have an unrealistic expectation that they were going to play, and you don't want to squash their dreams and say, just
right.
But even between Division I and Division II, or
Massive
2 and 3,
difference.
but sometimes somebody is a good Division III athlete, but they think
Their
parents think they're Division I, and they're not, and that's hard as a coach to say. Like I said, you don't want to. You want to let people shoot for the stars,
right?
But then again, you want to be
realistic,
more balanced and realistic.
Sure. Yeah, and there's a lot of. I shouldn't say a lot. There are a couple of stories of people that have been passed over that end up like the Steph Curry story. Wasn't recruited by any big D1, and then I don't remember where he went to school, but he did pretty good. And then obviously quite a career in the NBA.
He went to Davis.
But you also have a dad that played in the NBA. So we're going back to the genetics.
Right.
He's already got some of that ingrained in him. His dad was teaching him how to shoot fundamentally well when he was 5.
Right.
He just gets a different level of coaching. Yeah, travel sports, I wonder how that's going to go, because I've looked at my wife before, and we've got 3 years left with the little one. I'm like, I'm ready to be done with some of this.
I know it. I know.
Yeah, because it's a intense program there.
You're missing out on a lot of things in life, taking a whole weekend away and doing just one thing, sitting in the gym when could be doing a lot of other.
Mhm. Yeah, and sports kind of split us a little bit because we've got a farm, so we've got some commitments with the animals at the house that you can't always have two people going. So
Right.
it wasn't really easy to do that. So we've definitely stepped back from travel sports a little bit, the extreme stuff, where you're
Mhm.
going down to Detroit and
Right.
stuff further than that. But, all right, so we get through basically your coaching career. Are you doing any coaching currently?
I am not. I really have no
Enjoying
desire.
retirement?
Yeah, I'm enjoying retirement, and I go to games, and um,
Know almost
you-
everybody there.
I like to be able to
Just enjoy
sit and
it.
watch. And, if somebody, I have done some film editing, some
Mm,
scouting on film a little bit, but that's I sometimes can go overboard on that too. So
a little
I'm
intense.
fun watching.
Well, my experience was a little different on the coaching end. My dad coached me in everything from a little guy all the way up. So when I had kids, I said, I don't want to coach. I want my girls to just be on a team. I'm not going to be one of those intense parents that's screaming on the sidelines. I think I have very reasonable expectations. Like, I don't think my kids are Olympic athletes. I don't think they're D1 athletes. They're good athletes, but I've been around a lot of D1 athletes to know that. Just from my hometown, we had Sean Kemp, grew up there, Rick Meyer, um, they had Lindsay Banco. She's a 3 or 4 time Olympic swimmer. So
Wow.
all these people were people we were exposed to. So the level, like I remember Sean Kemp, he was doing windmill dunks in 8th grade, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you know something's different then.
Right.
That's not a normal kid that's
Right.
doing that in a gym. And we were at those games. I remember he'd come home when he was playing in the NBA and he would go to a local outdoor court. There'd be 10,000 people out there watching him. And he didn't care who was on the court. He was dunking over you.
Oh yeah.
Because his vertical was something like 42 inches. It
Mhm.
was just absolutely wild to watch. But I've also heard, and I think some parents don't have this perspective. We've heard a lot of people that have gone D1 that have not had good experiences.
Mhm.
And so there's that in the back of my mind. It's not just get there, right?
Right.
I've heard some horror stories
Mhm.
of people that have been recruited and played on scholarship and how poorly their experience went.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
know personally of some, and looking back,
They probably wouldn't
some of
have
them wish they had gone Division II
done something different.
and been able to play and been closer to home, and
Mm-hmm.
got personal. I've got a niece's daughter who went to Michigan and played. Didn't have a negative experience, but ended up transferring to Ball State and thrived.
Mm,
And she's. I wonder if she. I mean, she got a great experience and great education in Michigan, but then again, finding the right spot. I
right.
could use my son as an example too. He went to Bucknell, and he could have stayed in state and been to more, Division II school and been closer to home and played a lot more. But it's all.
Mhm.
He also turned out to have a
It's all
great
good
experience, and,
experiences.
and, and he still
Sure.
has lifelong friends that he wouldn't trade it for anything. I don't think.
So you're kind of getting done with your career. You retired teaching at 2015. Is that right?
By the way, I got to backtrack a little bit. It was not my niece's daughter; it was my cousin's daughter.
Okay.
I can't.
Your cousin's daughter.
Sorry, Erica.
She's thinking, I don't have anybody that old. So 2015, you retire from teaching, right? And then you coached a couple more years. How was that 3 years? Was that easier not being in there, or was that kind of funky?
It was harder. First year to third year was the max. I knew I needed to.
Did you
I
not have a connection with the
didn't
kids?
have the same connection with kids.
Yeah,
No,
because you don't see them in the classroom, and you don't see them in the hallways.
And I spent too much time thinking about practice and scouting and I just think it was
because you had the time.
I had the time, and I thought it was helping, but I think maybe it just I think it put too much of a burden on the kids to
So were
looking a little more at perfection than I probably should have because I had all this time to evaluate. And but the main thing is that I just wasn't in the school, and I could see doing it for a year, maybe two, but third year was too long to be out without. I've always said that. I mean, there's a lot of really good coaches that don't teach, but I think to be the head coach at a school size of Petoskey, I think you need to have your hands on the you've got to have your fingers on the pulse of what's going on and know what's even happening in the middle school. When
you're out of the loop.
I was out of the loop, and, and there were kids that were freshmen when my last year. I really didn't know that never happened when I was in the school.
You knew who was coming up,
right?
Yeah. That's so that perfectionism thing. That's probably the main reason that I chose not to. So when my dad would coach, like on a baseball practice, he would always yell stuff like "perfect practice makes perfect," and I just never understood this concept because the point of practice is to improve, right? So him and I really butted heads because the way I say it is, and he was a perfectionist. Extreme perfectionism is a cover for insecurity. Okay. And that's why people get so intense and everything's got to be so perfect. So after having those experiences, I got asked to play football at Hillsdale. I had zero interest after high school sports. Like, you could have told me I was on a full ride and I would have said, nope, not playing. Right? Because it was always so intense with the athletics. And then I did my undergrad, and then it wasn't until graduate school that I got back into athletics a little bit. And by this time, I'm of age, so I'm over 21. I'm sitting in a bar, and a guy asked me if I've ever played rugby. No, but I read an ESPN article, right? And rugby's a wild sport.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, hey, why don't you come out? We got this tryout going on. And this is when I was entering chiropractic school. Little did I know the chiropractic rugby team was one of the best in the country. And so our chiropractic school used that as a recruiting tool, an international recruiting tool, drawing athletes from all over the world to come in. And so if they get the chiropractic education, they then go back to their country and establish chiropractic there. Long story short, I walked on, ended up on a scholarship, played rugby for a few years. And this is men's Division I. So we were wild, flying all over the country. And the rugby team, it was such a big deal at our school. They had like a $40 million endowment. And so that endowment just covered everything, your flights and buses and planes and all this stuff. And this will date me a little bit, but we played in the 2002 men's Division I national finals.
Okay.
So this was after that 4 years of having zero interest in any athletics to then having a little bit. And then my parents started traveling a little bit to the games.
Okay.
But now my dad and I had, that 4 years off helped with our relationship.
Okay.
Because he didn't know rugby. Right. And he wasn't that intense about it, right? He couldn't coach me. But I had some real good memories with some of those guys and still good friends, talk with them. But that athletic experience, that's what I was saying. Like, some of these parents don't have an experience to see. Like, some of these athletes that we played with were incredible. Okay. Like, one of the wingers on our team ended up going to the Olympics as a bobsledder. He's running like a 4.140. I mean, speeds you've never seen. I remember we were playing a team in Chicago. They had a winger that was from South Africa. And this guy, Jason, on our team caught him from behind, right? He came over after the game and he said, I've never been caught in my career. He's like, who is that guy that caught me? And, Jason was the one that raised his hand. And he's like, I've never seen speed like that. And obviously the Olympics wanted it.
Yeah.
Because being a pusher on the bobsled team, they put the fastest guy in the back. He's making everybody run faster.
Right.
So, all right. So those 3 years, kind of end a little funky. 2018 rolls around. Now you're fully retired, right?
Yes.
You got all these plans.
Yes, I did.
Life throws a curveball.
It sure did.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, in January, I went in. My wife made me go in to the hospital because her brother had just had appendicitis,
Mhm.
and it had the same symptoms. So I reluctantly went in, and sure enough, emergency surgery.
Appendectomy. Yep.
And while they were in, there was a mass that they were concerned about, so they took the mass out, and it was benign,
Mhm.
but it enclosed me up.
That was supposed to be it.
It was supposed to be it,
Yep.
but I ended up with serious infection. Got sepsis. Was in the hospital for 45 days. Left the hospital during that, left the hospital, I couldn't walk. Had to go through therapy. I mean,
Just because of
when
like
you're
the
when
laying.
you're in the hospital, and I didn't know this at the time, when you're laid up, you lose.
It's not good.
It's not good. And
No.
I remember running into a friend who happened to be a doctor. He goes, nothing good happens when you're in the hospital for 45 days, and most of it was intensive care. But I survived and went through therapy and got to the point. But I did leave with an ostomy that was there to help save my life.
Mhm.
By the way, talking about saving my life, I have what I call my dream team.
Your wife?
Well, my wife's the captain.
Yep.
And pharmacist, Dennis, Dan Gerard,
Mhm.
Harbor Springs. He was a pharmacist, and Josh Martin, one of the nurse practitioners, and Kate, drawing a blank on her last name,
Mhm.
but nurse, Roger, another nurse, and they saved me. They saved me, and I'll never forget that group.
Mhm.
And anyway, I left with an ostomy, so I knew there was another surgery coming up to have that reversed because it was only there
Supposed
temporarily.
to be temporary. Yeah.
Well, that surgery didn't go well either, and I was supposed to wait a year, and I didn't wait quite a year, and tried to have it reversed, and the same thing happened. I was back in. Didn't get quite as severe. I was in the hospital for quite a few days, and left with this opened wound. My whole stomach had to have a skin graft and ostomy back.
Mhm.
Didn't want to close me up because of the fear of infection again. And so from then on, there's always a surgery pending to get everything back together. And I waited, met through a doctor friend, met up with a surgeon at Cleveland Clinic. So it was a couple of years wait. He ended up leaving there and going to Northwestern Hospital in Chicago. So it ended up being a 6-year span. Of last March, I ended up he put me back together and got rid of my ostomy. And so now I'm first time in 6 years, I don't have surgery pending. So I feel good. And
That's got to be a great feeling.
great feeling.
Yeah.
And a lot of, my wife has been a trooper during the whole thing. She didn't deserve to have 6 years of her retirement.
She's an angel.
Being a nurse, she sure is. So,
yeah, she got up to speed on medical issues, didn't she?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And she always had an interest in medicine. It's funny because luckily she did, because she had to deal with some stuff.
Yeah. Well,
But I go back to my involvement in athletics, because there's a lot of people say that you probably shouldn't have survived that, but what else you gonna do? Put your head down and go to work,
yeah, it's called resilience.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you've been coaching that for 32 years.
Right.
So it was definitely a part of your DNA and how you made up.
Yeah. Had a lot of support too, great support from a lot of people. So
how did your faith play into that?
A lot. I can't tell you how many people said, I'm praying for you. And I said, well, keep doing it because it's working. It worked.
Yep.
And Reverend Mitchum, James Mitchum, who's was our local minister at the time. He's since retired. Was a big part of
that.
My ability to fight through it.
So obviously, like, coaching changes your perspective. There's been a lot of suffering in that story you just told me, that 5 years. How has that suffering changed your perspective on life and how you see people and challenges?
You always hear people say, can't take anything for granted, but until you, it's still, if that hadn't happened, I still would be like, oh yeah.
Well, every day is a blessing.
It's take advantage of it and travel as much as you can and do the things that you set out to do. And I just can't tell you that statement that I don't have a surgery pending. It's like that's a powerful statement. That means a lot.
Yeah. So I hope the next couple of years, you guys get to have the retirement that you deserve. Get to go see the kids, and
we're going out to see Corey in November and see Kevin this weekend. So
that's good. You're wearing your Michigan shirt. They have a game this weekend.
They do, but
are you going?
No, I'm not.
Yeah,
I like watching them from TV.
Oh yeah, a little more comfortable. Yep. All right. Well, one more thing before we kind of wrap some things up. I got a little present for you. Anybody that's watched a few of my podcasts know I like to give this out. This is Purpose Maker coffee. Okay. It's great. So on the back there, it says, put a little purpose in your cup.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for joining me on the show. You have a very powerful story. I've always respected you. I admire your resilience.
Well, and it goes both ways. I was one of your initial patients. How many years ago was that?
Oh, man.
3 locations.
Yeah. So the first practice when we opened was 2004 to 2009. So it would have been in that window. Yep.
I appreciate not only what you do for me physically, but always like your stories and your impact you have.
I appreciate it. All right. So, Coach, thank you so much. We're going to wrap it up. If it's your first time listening to the Purpose Maker podcast, you can find us on Apple and Spotify. And then we'll put this recording up on YouTube. And then if you hit purposemaker.com, you can sign up for the newsletter. I communicate a lot with newsletters, and my joke is intelligent people read. And that's a medium that I like to communicate with people. So we're going to sign off for the morning. Hope you guys have a blessed weekend. Thank you for joining us.